Hi, Eric here. When planting your tomatoes, there is a technique, especially when planting in pots. The mix that I've planted my tomatoes with is a soil topper with roughly 50% bark. The reason behind this is to prevent my tomatoes' roots from suffocating, causing end blossom rot. The other half of this mix is organic food scrap compost, which is super important, and I'll explain why later in this video. These are the only soils that I'm using for my tomatoes this year. To set up your tomatoes for success, you need long-lasting nutrients and readily available nutrients. No, these are not the same thing, and skipping either of these steps will lead to stunted growth. First, when potting up tomato starters, make a hole in your pot and give it half to even a full handful of granulated fertilizer. A general use fertilizer is fine, like this 444. But there are better fertilizers specific to tomatoes, such as 565, 274, or other fertilizers with higher phosphorus. Notice how I did not mix the fertilizer or spread it around. I placed it directly under the roots of these tomato clones. For pots, mixing your granulated fertilizer is not only a waste of time, it actually hinders the point of putting it in there in the first place. If you want explosive growth early, this is how you do it. You can use a granulated fertilizer super high in phosphorus right at the start for your tomatoes, even though we don't want flowers on our young plants. This is because it takes a while for granulated fertilizer to break down in your soil. It's not instant, and it is not readily available nutrients. Note that if your soil isn't made up of compost or other microorganism-rich substrate, your granulated fertilizer will not be broken down. If your soil doesn't do the work for you and break down your fertilizer, the fertilizer will either do nothing and you've wasted your money, or it will burn your plant roots and your plants won't survive. This is why I use compost in all of my outdoor gardening mixes. Otherwise, I can't use fertilizer like this. The other game-changing advice that I can give is using liquid-soluble fertilizers. Don't use this right away though. This stuff is super powerful. I recommend waiting either 1 week from the day that you've planted your tomatoes or until they've doubled in size. Because liquid-soluble fertilizer is readily available nutrients, you can easily burn the roots of your plants if they're not ready to receive that amount of nutrients. Follow the directions on the back, as these can range between 1 teaspoon to 2 tablespoons per gallon. If you'd like to learn about tomatoes, click the link below for the full video.